before we get into that, I want to talk about something else. A nice little happening, an unexpected happening today on Twitter. And I got to tell you, I almost bowed out of this early. When this whole thing started spinning itself up, I almost bowed out of it completely because I was like, I got too much shit to do today to exist in the land of Twitter, drama, and bullshit. So for but a brief moment, I just signed out of my Twitter account. I was like, you guys can all you want. I don't really care. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. Leave me alone. I was like, get off my lawn. And then I had a change of heart, and I'm really glad I did because I have an absolutely epic, epic case study for the art of the trigger. I triggered Styxhexenhammer. I have been triggering Styxhexenhammer for the past 7 hours. I'm serious. I didn't even try that hard. Literally, all I did to trigger Styxhexenhammer was to tell him no. That was it. And it has been hours and hours and hours and hours of complaining and reeing, and he's trying many different strategies to trigger me in the same way that I've triggered him. It has actually been glorious. And I have to say, first off, like, I've always liked Styxhexenhammer. I think that Styxhexenhammer is easily one of the most intelligent commentators on YouTube. And you guys know I don't say that lightly because I think that most people are stupid. But Styxhexenhammer is not stupid at all. Styxhexenhammer is extremely smart. So that might actually be why I was slightly perturbed at the fact that he was so very easy to trigger. I don't know, maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe the kid kept him up. Maybe he is under stress. I don't know what's happening. But Styxhexenhammer was absolutely triggered by me today. And I'm going to tell you what happened. So, this morning, Styxhexenhammer had he tweeted something. I think it was about I think it was about Tulsi Gabbard. It was about Tulsi Gabbard and how he doesn't trust Tulsi Gabbard, and I completely agree with this sentiment. And I was looking at the replies, and someone in the replies had just tweeted a photo of me as like, for those of you who might not know, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly not know if you've been on my channel, but like some of you might not know, I very publicly left the Democratic Party in 2020. I didn't intend it to be public. It was just an accident that it became public. I wrote an article. I thought no one was ever going to read it. It ended up going viral on the internet. I never wanted to be a part of this space. That was not part of my life plan. And when my article went viral, I got vaulted into this space in a way that I never anticipated. I didn't even know like most of the people in this space existed. And so I guess I have to say, like, I was actually like the poster child for leaving the left for the conservative movement in 2020. I was their effing poster child. And I don't regret any of that. And I learned a lot from that. And of course, like I never became a Republican. I never became a conservative. Well, I became a Republican for about 15 minutes to trigger Lauren Witzke, but like really, I was never. I was really like I was independent for all of 2020, and I eventually ended up landing in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. And I'm really, really glad that I did. Like, this is exactly the right place for me. I have no regrets about it. For me, like, it's not the right place for everyone, but it is absolutely the right place for me. I ended up getting nominated for governor this year for the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Again, that was not something that was actually planned. The only reason I am on the ballot for the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I got nominated at convention by someone who didn't tell me they were nominating me at convention. And I had to make a decision on the spot about whether or not I was going to accept the nomination. So I didn't even have any time to like think about it or anything. And I ended up accepting it because I didn't think it would be gracious not to. And then after I accepted it, and I also liked the idea of people having a choice on the ballot. And then after I accepted it, basically found out that the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire could do petitioning in a way where they could collect petitions for both me and Jeremy Kauffman, who is our candidate for Senate, at exactly the same time. And so we decided that, yeah, like let's just move forward with it and put my name on the ballot. But it was never a plan that my campaign was supposed to be like a real, like active campaign. Of course, I speak to issues that I care about. People know my stances on the issues. If I were against all odds to win the election for governor, I would try my very best. I would do everything I said I was going to do. I'm not messing around with my platform at all. I would absolutely do everything I said I was going to do. But we made the decision as a team that the resources and the party energy was going to be put into Jeremy Kauffman's race. And that was always the case from the very beginning. And I'm 100% fine with this. I'm 100% on board with this. I never question this. I never like that is the plan. And that's what I'm working towards as well. And I bring that up because it's going to become relevant in the course of the triggering of Styxhexenhammer. So all sorts of things were happening. And so Styx posted this tweet this morning talking about how he didn't trust Tulsi. I was looking in the replies and I saw someone had just posted a picture of me. And I replied to it and I said, "You mean that person that's been in the Libertarian Party for a year and a half and has been really involved? You mean her? That's her?" And then the person who posted that picture of me responded to me and they made a threat of physical violence against me. Now, I'm not saying like a words or violence sort of thing. I am saying they made a threat of physical violence against me in no uncertain terms, in no unclear terms. This is not that they said something I didn't like and I was offending my fragile sensibilities were offended and I'm like words or violence. No, it was a threat of physical violence in response to the fact that I said something they didn't like. And was I scared of this person? No. However, if you make a threat of physical violence against me, I will absolutely every day of the week defend myself. There's no question. If I was at a restaurant and a crazy person 3 tables over from me happened to overhear a conversation that I was having at my table and happened to not like the things that were coming out of my mouth and came over to my table and made a threat to physically remove me from the restaurant because they didn't like what I was saying, do you know what I would do? I would go, "Manager, this person's threatening physical violence against me. Can we please take care of that situation?" And I think that that's a pretty reasonable response. Well, when this person made a threat of overt physical violence against me, I reported their ass to Twitter. And I don't feel bad about doing it. Do not feel bad at all in any way. You make a threat of physical violence against someone, you cross the fucking line. And then I responded to the person saying, "You just made it so easy for me to get your account banned." And the person didn't like that for reasons I think we can all surmise because they knew it was true. And they immediately deleted the tweet. And then Styxhexenhammer got involved. Not there. We're going to talk about that in a second. Styxhexenhammer got involved and said, "Why is the LP's New Hampshire gubernatorial candidate calling my plurality libertarian audience toxic? What timeline have I shifted to?" Now, this was a little bit into this, which is Styx responded a couple times, basically defending this guy and saying, "Why are you trying to get someone banned? Why are you trying to get someone banned?" And I said, "Styx, he made a threat of physical violence against me. This is not something I'm fucking around with." And there was a little bit of a back and forth. And I kind of thought, the guy deleted the tweet. It would be actually pretty reasonable for Styxhexenhammer to not have seen the tweet and not know there was a threat of physical violence. So I can totally wrap my head around that. Okay. But then Styx just kept going. And eventually, I basically started fighting back and I said, "Why is a libertarian defending someone who threatened me with physical violence in clear violation of the non-aggression principle and then continuing to complain that I defended myself even after I explained that I was threatened with physical violence by one of his audience members?" Apparently, the timeline. Oh, I don't want to show that was actually the threat of physical violence, and I don't actually want to show that on YouTube. To be perfectly honest, I just don't want to give the guy attention. Apparently the timeline has shifted, Styx. Please let me know when the non-aggression principle was changed to allow for threats of physical violence as someone as long as that person tweeted something they didn't like. So I didn't let Styx off the hook on this one. I will defend free speech, like, without question. However, if someone physically threatens me with violence, I'm reporting that shit, and there's not anyone in the world that's going to make me feel bad about that, and I don't give a fuck. Styx can suck a dick. And if he doesn't like it, and listen, one of the things that I said was, we're allowed to have different values. We are allowed to have different values. If Styx wants to cultivate a community in which he condones and even encourages his community members from making threats of physical violence, that's his business. That's entirely his right. I will defend Styxhexenhammer's right to have a community that is making threats of physical violence against each other all day, every day. However, in my community, we have two rules. Don't be a dick and don't whine. And making a threat of physical violence absolutely breaks rule number one. And so Styxhexenhammer and I just have two different values. And guess what? We are allowed to have different values. We are allowed to have communities where we live our values, and those two values can be different. And that's fine. So he says, I'm shilling for text censorship enabled by whiners pretending to feel threatened by innocuous and obviously hyperbolic statements. Now, again, I'm sorry. It was an overt threat of physical violence. And I said, you are defending someone who threatened me with physical violence in clear violation of the NAP when you could have just stayed out of it entirely. Keep defending the toxic members of your audience. It's good to know which creators support toxicity and which do not. And then I said, anyone who would like to join a community where threats of violence are not only condoned but encouraged will find a wonderful community in Styxhexenhammers. If that had happened in my community, the person would be immediately removed. We just have different values. And that's the truth. Styx is allowed to have his community. I'm allowed to have mine. And I'm not playing this game. I won't do it. Now, what was going on at this point in the triggering is Styxhexenhammer had started to figure out that he was wrong. The non-aggression principle is very, very clear. Styx wants to play libertarian expert with me. Have I read the 12 economics books that I was given to read upon joining the Libertarian Party? No, I have not read the 12 economics books, and I'll admit it. I read economics in one lesson, that's it. I have not read the other 12 economics books I was given to read. So there are many things that Styx knows more about than I do, but the non-aggression principle is pretty clear. You don't threaten violence against someone, and you particularly don't do it when they tweet something you don't like. That's very, very clear. And so by this point in the triggering, I'm pretty sure that Styx had started to figure out that he was wrong. But the reason that Styx, and what he really should have done at this point is to just say, you know what? Whatever. And he should have left it alone or just walked away or just stopped responding. But Styx didn't do that. Styx kept doubling down because even though I'm pretty sure he knew he was wrong, he didn't want to admit he was wrong. Listen, when like one of the easiest ways to get triggered is to not admit when you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. And like I said, I was perfectly willing to to give Styx the benefit of the doubt that the guy deleted the tweet after I told him I reported him. He deleted it. And so Styx may not have even seen it. And that's totally, he could have just said, you know what? I didn't see the tweet. Now I have seen the tweet and it is a threat to physical violence. And that's not cool, man. Cut that shit out. That's literally all you had to do. But Styx didn't want to do that because that would have meant admitting he was wrong. And some people just don't like admitting that they're wrong. And this is especially true of very, very, very smart people like he is. They don't like admitting they're wrong. So admitting you're wrong sometimes when you get one wrong is a skill that everyone should develop. And I would encourage everyone to do that because you know what? It's like one of the easiest things in the world you can do to say, you know what? My bad. My bad. You're right. I'm wrong. Let's move on. That's what he should have done. He didn't do that though. We kept going. Styx retweeted me. He kept retweeting me out to his audience. And he said, I'm defending a clanker who made a hyperbolic joke after you openly threatened to whine to the Twitter hall monitors. So you know that he now understands that it was a threat of physical violence, and he's just trying to dismiss that it was a threat of physical violence. I have no regrets or apologies to offer. Apparently, I have to establish residency in New Hampshire and show you how a real campaign is run. So now Styx has shown that he knows that he was wrong. And what he's done now is he's trying to shift the argument. And what he's doing is trying to make me feel embarrassed about standing up when a member of his audience threatened me with physical violence. He's trying to make me feel embarrassed about the campaign I'm running. Now, I told you at the beginning, my campaign was never supposed to be a real thing. Real in the sense that we were going to put a lot of energy and resources into it. That's why if you go to my website, carlinlovesnewhampshire.com, you're going to see my platform and you're going to see some videos of me and you're going to see what I stand for. But when you hit the donation button, it's going to take you to Jeremy Kauffman because Jeremy Kauffman is where we're putting all our resources. So Styx saying to me, I'm going to show you how a real campaign is run. Do you know what I say to that? Good. 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 Come to New Hampshire, Styx. Come to New Hampshire. Live here for 7 years, which is the residency requirement. One of the reasons, by the way, I'm the one nominated for governor is I'm one of the few members of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire that actually meets the damn residency requirement. Because I've lived here for 11 years. So he thinks he's trying to trigger me when in fact I'm like, you want to come to New Hampshire and run for governor? Do it, dude. Do it. And so I retweeted him. I said, blah, I'm making excuses for defending a threat of physical violence, blah. Yes, please come to New Hampshire and get involved with the party and get more insight into why the campaign has been run like it has. But if you do it, hopefully you won't defend threats as part of your platform. And we keep going. Styx says, if I ever get involved in state politics, I'll actually mount a campaign that can win. Still waiting for you to your justification for thinking an obvious joke was a violation of the NAP. Since you don't intend to file a police report, your claim is balls to the wall meaningless. Now, how am I going to file a police report on an anonymous Twitter account, Styx? Again, I will use my restaurant example. If someone made a threat of physical violence in a restaurant to me, I'd call the fucking manager. I'd say, can we get this person removed, please? Because this person's a crazy person. So what did I do? I reported the person to Twitter. Boo-hoo, too bad, so sad. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Fuck around and find out. And so he can complain about me not going to the police all he wants. But that's just not a reasonable request. So I said, because it wasn't an obvious joke and we both know it, but keep defending your toxic audience members making threats of physical violence because they don't like someone's tweets. I filed a report with the platform where the threat was made, which got the threat deleted. My reporting that threat to Twitter got exactly the result that I wanted. I'm not going to take that bullshit. Absolutely not. But Styx kept going. He said, I could probably get more votes as a write-in than on your faux libertarian platform, Carlin. Now, does Styxhexenhammer even know what my platform is? That's my question. How is my platform faux libertarian? My platform for governor is basically I want to change culture to enable the complete separation of government and education, which is absolutely a part of the Libertarian Party platform. I support secession, which is absolutely part of the Libertarian Party platform. I support defend the guard, which is absolutely part of the Libertarian Party platform. I support making property tax optional, which, you know, taxation is theft is like a thing, right? How is my platform faux libertarian? But I ignored that in my response to him, and I just said, fucking do it then. Stop talking and actually do something. Do you think it's offensive to me if libertarians can get votes? Put up or shut up. I think it would be fucking great if Styxhexenhammer moved to New Hampshire, lived here for 7 years, got involved with the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, and then mounted a campaign for governor. I don't know why Styxhexenhammer thinks that I'm going to be offended by the idea of libertarians getting votes in New Hampshire. I think that would be fucking awesome. I think if he came to New Hampshire and mounted a campaign, he could be a demonstration to people that libertarians can win. I'm not in a position to do that this year. I'm just not. But he could. So put up or shut up, dude. Don't talk a game that you don't want to back up. And then I followed up. I said, Styx, I have news for you. While you're defending threats of violence, I have no problem saying that if you came to New Hampshire and got a metric ton of votes, I would cheer for you. One of us cares about actually winning more than they care about bullshit. And then we shifted again. And then, because Styx knew that he was losing that argument, we shifted to something else, and he challenged me to a debate. He challenged me to a fucking debate. Like, dude. Now, those of you who don't know, I don't debate because I think it would be a giant waste of time. I think there's no purpose to it. I think there is no change happens ever in a debate. And so I just don't do them. I have never done them except for the ones that I got tricked into by someone telling me I was entering into a discussion when I was really entering into a debate. But the only ones that I've ever done are the ones that I was tricked into. I've said no to every debate that I've ever been offered. So I'm not going to change my mind here. And all I did was retweet him and I said, no. And then I responded to him. I said, I don't debate ever. Sorry to disappoint. Your debate bro culture doesn't interest me in the slightest. And he said, yeah, bro culture, you're a fucking joke. And I said, cry harder. And then, oh, I didn't even see this. This is new. I didn't even see this response. I'll try to stanch my tears between a selling of 250,000 copies of literature catering to 6,000 or so people for every live stream I hold. I'm very sad. Please console me. Oh, so Styx thinks that his numbers are going to trigger me? Is that what you think, honey? Styx, why don't you bring all those people to New Hampshire while you're working on your 7-year residency requirement to run for governor, honey? And then he retweeted me and he said, coward. And I retweeted him and I said, come to New Hampshire and get the votes you claim to be able to get. Or have we already moved on from that because you care more about being a debate bro than you care about winning? So, to summarize, this is my triggering of Styxhexenhammer. Styx said, after we dispensed with the fact that a member of Styx's audience made a threat of physical violence against me, that Styx not only condoned, but defended, he said, I could get more votes than you. And I said, do it. And he says, I'm serious. I'll do it. And I said, good for you. I'll cheer for you. And then he said, debate me, bro. And I said, no. And he said, coward. And I said, I thought you were coming to New Hampshire to campaign and get more votes than me. And then Styx says, you're a joke. Just a too long didn't read summary of the triggering of Styxhexenhammer, which I will be doing a full case study of on my website, The Art of the Trigger, artofthetrigger.com. That's going to redirect you to the Substack. I'm also going to have a clip of this video as well. I'm going to show you all the tweets. I'm going to talk and break down about how I triggered Styxhexenhammer and why this was so triggering for him, what he should have done differently, and how you can use this information to trigger your friends, or probably more importantly, prevent yourself from being triggered. If you find yourself in the same position as Styx, that's going to be available tomorrow on artofthetrigger.com.